Fast, focused, and fearless. Here's everything you need to know as you jumpstart your day. I'm Pauline Verzosa. The national government has clarified that the U.S. Task Force Ayungin has no direct participation in our resupply mission in the West Philippine Sea. National Security Advisor Eduardo Año has confirmed the existence of a U.S. Task Force Ayungin in the country, but he did not provide more details about them. However, Año did explain that the task force is here to provide support to our military amid the tension with China.
They're providing support to us, like for example, ISR, Maritime Domain Awareness. So, tumutulong sila sa pagbibigay ng mga information about that. But on actual direct participation, it is purely Philippine operation. It is purely solely a Philippine armed forces, Philippine forces operation. The WESCOM supported by the Philippine Coast Guard.
Geopolitical analyst Richard Hadarian believes that the Philippines is on the right track in addressing the geopolitical challenges surrounding the country. Here's an excerpt from his interview on The Big Story.
Why do you need a task force for that? What do you make of it?
With just a few months before a second Donald Trump presidency and a very interesting cabinet coming together, which we can discuss separately. Everyone's talking about Trump-proofing. But this is, I think, more 6 months ago. What we're seeing right now is what I call pre-Trumping, right?
Okay.
You're kind of trying to out-Trump Trump, right? So we already see that in Ukraine, where the United States, in the 11th hour is clearing Ukraine to use NATO, including American missile systems against Russia, right? We already saw the update just a while ago about even allowing the Ukrainians to use anti-personnel mines. Right, so you're seeing here that the Biden administration, because they have nothing to lose anymore, is to go all in on different conflicts. Now that brings us to the second Thomas Sholayong issue. Now, obviously, the United States has made it clear that the Mutual Defense Treaty applies to any of our public vessels, aircrafts, and yung mga sundalo natin.
Right.
So our military personnel. And that's what makes Ayungin Shoal extremely important because we literally have a military base there atop BRP Sierra Madre. So it would be impossible to think the Americans would not be involved in the situation there, especially after the escalation we saw earlier this year and some of our folks even losing their finger and almost getting injured. So this is a confirmation of, I think, what has been there for quite some time. The only question here is the Biden administration laying down the ground for more direct American involvement?
That's right.
Or they're just trying to preempt that and say, hey, if ever, before Trump takes credit for anything big or important there, we have already been laying this down. So I think it's more about, I call it pre-Trumping, right? Maneuver.
Trying
But
to
we're totally
out-Trump
not surprised. Now, just to be clear, it is different for the U.S. to have like shadowing vessels or drones while we're doing patrols than something which is more like intelligence sharing and coordination and what you
That's
can call
right.
offshore.
Exactly.
Like, we're just here, just in case you ask to need us to come, we'll come. That's different from, let's go there together.
Correct.
So I think there are
Exactly.
levels of coordination. We're not level like 5 or 6 yet. We're still at level 1 or 2. But eventually we may go there.
That's what I was trying to ask. Like, do you think one of these days that could very much happen, that they could also be joining us in the resupply missions? We've denied their help. They've been offering help,
Right.
but the Philippines says we can still manage.
We could still manage back in the day, and probably in theory we can still manage, but the reality is that the preponderance of force of China is a reality we have to deal with. And I think everyone is expecting under the second Donald Trump presidency, there'll be many colorful things we can talk about forever. But on the foreign policy front, if you look at Mike Waltz, you look at Marco Rubio, Senator Rubio has been a very good friend of the Philippines. He had an op-ed piece last year saying there's no way the U.S. can maintain its great power status if it loses key allies like the Philippines and access to important resources.
The International Criminal Court, or ICC, has issued arrest warrants against Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. This is for his alleged war crimes and crimes against humanity in the ongoing conflict in Gaza. The ICC is also seeking to arrest his former defense chief, Yoav Gallant, and Hamas leader, Ibrahim al-Masri. Judges said Netanyahu and Gallant are criminally responsible for the widespread and systemic attack against the civilian population of Gaza. Israel's ongoing campaign in Gaza has already killed about 44,000 Palestinians so far. We'll be back with more stories after this break. Keep it here on One News. Welcome back. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Pauline Verzosa. Let's now take a quick look at today's other headlines. In the Philippine Star, Indonesia will fully respect whatever decision President Marcos makes on the grant of clemency to Mary Jane Veloso. Veloso is set to return to the Philippines, where she will continue her prison time over drug trafficking charges. And in business world, the Philippine peso hit a record low level for the first time in more than 2 years. The peso closed at 59 pesos against the greenback on Thursday, weaker by 9 centavos from its 58.91 peso finish on Wednesday. President Bongbong Marcos and Meralco Chairman Manny V. Pangilinan led the groundbreaking ceremony of the biggest solar and battery storage facility in the world. Marcos said the facility will place the Philippines on the map as one of the leading countries in renewable energy. Gary Cator has that report.
President Bongbong Marcos led the groundbreaking of the Meralco Terra or M-Terra solar project this morning, touted to become the world's largest solar and battery storage facility. The project spans 3,500 hectares across the provinces of Nueva Ecija and Bulacan. It's a hugely impressive project by any measure. Once fully operational by 2027, the facility is set to deliver up to 3,500 megawatts of solar power to the Luzon grid thanks to 5 million solar panels. It will hold up to 4,500 megawatt hours of battery storage. The project is expected to benefit over 2 million households and generate up to 10,000 jobs.
The Terra Solar Power Project is designed to address two critical challenges of our time: the surging demand for electricity and the pressing need to shift to renewable and sustainable sources of that energy. This landmark project will put our country on the map as a leader in renewable energy.
Meralco Chairman and CEO Manny V. Pangilinan echoed this, saying the carbon emissions that the facility will cut are equivalent to pulling 3 million cars off the roads.
We will deliver 4,500 megawatt hours of clean energy, enough to power 2.4 million homes and eliminate 3.6 million tons of carbon emissions annually, the equivalent of pulling 3 million cars off our roads. The Philippines is not only keeping pace with the global energy transition, but more so we express our intention, the Philippines' intention, to lead that migration from thermal to renewables.
The Philippines has set a goal of increasing the share of renewable energy in the energy mix to 35% by 2030 and up to 50% by 2040. Though the country has ample solar, geothermal, wind, and hydro resources, these have been hard to convert to baseload energy. So the question is, will electricity prices come down once MTERA is able to supply power to Meralco?
Palagay ko,
Pag-operate nito, malaramdaman na ng mga consumers.
President Marcos called on all government agencies to ensure the timely completion of the project, especially in light of the string of cyclones that the country just suffered. He also said the 200 billion peso investment in the facility demonstrates confidence in the country's economic potential.
Over the next decade, it is poised to generate nearly 23 billion pesos in financial benefits, resources that will pave the way for even greater progress.
A 13-kilometer, 500 kilovolt transmission line will connect MTERA to the main power grid. Reporting for News 5, Caricator, we are One News.
In the PBL, Signal HD earns a share of the lead with an impressive 4-set victory against Cherry Tigo. Don Macandili Katindig and Jelka Yuna steered the HD Spikers to their second straight win of the conference. The result gives Signal a share of the early lead in the tournament, along with the PLDT and Akari. Chocomucho also notched its second straight win after rallying past Capital One in 4 sets. The win puts the Flying Titans with a 2-1 record, while the Solar Spikers remain winless at 0-2. Chocomucho and Signal HD will face off next Thursday at the Phil Sports Arena. And over at the FIBA Asia Cup qualifiers, Gilas Pilipinas has stunned New Zealand and ended our 4-game dry spell against the Tall Blacks 93-89. Both teams were in a back-and-forth affair in the first half of the game until they tied it all 54. But after that, there was no going back for Gilas after unleashing an 18-6 run to gain the lead against the world number 22. Justin Brownlee led the team with a game-high 26 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. With the win, the Philippines now sits on top of Group B with 3 wins, and they will next face Hong Kong this Sunday at the Mall of Asia Arena. And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 9 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest story. I'm Pauline Verzosa. We are One News.